Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. Okay, so today we're going to talk about collecting versus emulation, and this was suggested to me by my good mate Dazs, the artist formerly known as Cojones de Loro. He's now got a new channel called In My Own Head, so if you want to check out his new channel, guys, look in the description, there's a link down below. He's a really top bloke. So Daz asked me to give him my thoughts because at the moment I'm emulating my retro games, and before I used to be a collector. So if you don't know me, back in 2003 I began collecting retro games, mainly for the Japanese market. So I was collecting the Japanese Super Nintendo, the Super Famicom and the Japanese Mega Drive. Built up a pretty decent collection over 5 years, and then in 2008 I decided to move down to the southwest from Birmingham. And when I did that, I had to sell up and get rid of most of my collection because I needed money. And I had a few games left, a couple of boxed American games, a few systems, not a whole lot. And then in 2009 I found YouTube and started doing this retro gaming channel. And if you go back and look at my early videos, you'll see the small amount of games that I did have back then. And over my period of time on YouTube, I built up a pretty decent Super Nintendo collection to around about 124, 126, somewhere around there, boxed American Super Nintendo games. No easy feat, mind you. It took me a lot of years and it was fantastic. I enjoyed doing it a lot. And I also built up a pretty substantial PAL Xbox collection as well. Around about 130 odd games I think I got for that. At the time, Xbox games were going dirt cheap. People were just getting rid of them in shops, and they were doing loads of deals in game and game stations, so it was really easy. And the car boots were fantastic back then because people didn't know that retro games were worth money, so they weren't going on eBay, and you could just go and pick them up anytime you wanted. You know, you can get them for 50p and a pound. It was really easy to get games back then. And so obviously being on YouTube as well, I met a great bunch of people. There was a whole community vibe going on. Whole retro community was building, and it's fantastic to actually meet other people who, like me, wanted to collect retro games for nostalgia, and it was just an awesome time. And so I'll talk about the whole collecting thing. I mean, straight up for me, collecting was about hunting down the systems that I wanted first. So on nostalgic systems, Super Nintendo has always been my favourite console, so I had to own one of those. Then there was buying systems that I'd never owned. So initially in 2003, when I first started collecting, I bought the Super Famicom and the Mega Drive. But then I went on to buy all kinds of systems, from the Neo Geo AES to the Neo Geo CD, the Neo Geo CD-Z, the Dreamcast, Master System, NES, pretty much every system, even like the Panasonic Cube. Anything I could find, I was like, I wanted it. And I went crazy for those 5 years and bought every system under the sun and games for all the systems. But the main ones were the SNES and Mega Drive, or Super Famicom Mega Drive. Bought a load of games for those too. 2009, as I say, started YouTube, started building up my American SNES collection, and it was going really good because I was chipping away slowly but surely. Wasn't rushing it because I was importing games from the States, which, as you know, is expensive because of the import tax, and the shipping alone can be quite expensive. And occasionally you get the odd game in Europe, you get lucky, and if you're very lucky, you'd find American games in the UK. They're a lot more prevalent now on eBay than they ever were before, because they used to not really come up at all, and it was hard to get the games that I wanted. So it was great. I mean, I really loved the collecting part. I really enjoyed picking up the games, building the collection up, seeing them grow on the shelf, you know, having that physical touch, being able to read the manuals, look at the boxes, to reminisce about games that I played back in the day. A lot of the games I'd never owned because my friend owned them because he's older. So I only owned a handful of Super Nintendo games. So I was finally getting to own these games for myself, as well as picking up games I'd never heard of and never played, and that were being recommended by other retro gamers on YouTube, which was fantastic. You know, and I was learning about all these games in the SNES library. And there was just something really, really good and enjoyable about hunting down the games that I wanted, getting great deals. You know, there was a game that for 10 years I couldn't get. I mean, it's a common game, it's Super Mario World, but trying to get a normal black box version, not a player's choice, at that time was impossible. Just couldn't find them. Nowadays you can find them relatively easy, not tons of them, but they are available. Back then it was just impossible. It took me a decade to find one. Cost me £80, which was an absolute bargain at the time. I'm sure they're more expensive now. And the excitement and the enjoyment I got when I finally got that, I was so chuffed. You know, and then another one that stands out was R-Type 3.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm in a really good mood. I'm really happy. Basically, I just got home from work literally like probably 5-10 minutes ago. Absolutely knackered, and I was just one of those days where you're just tired and all you want to do is just get home, have something to eat and just chill out. Open up the porch door when I get home, and this is waiting for me. This is that long awaited game I've been talking about for like the last 2 months that has gone missing in the post. I ordered this like the end of July, and it's now August the 3rd today, I believe, and it's just arrived. This left America on July the 27th. It's now September the 3rd, not August the 3rd. It's right. September the 3rd, so just over a month to arrive from America. All that said, I'm very excited. I'm just going to crack this open now because I've been talking for a long time, and let's just see what we got. Well, it weren't lying about the condition. Wow. Oh wow. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is superb. Oh yes. And I didn't know it had that in it as well. Wow. Oh dude. Very happy now. Very glad I paid the money that I did for it, the price I paid for it. And very glad that it finally turned up because this is awesome. And I'm just going to get to the point, guys. It is R-Type free. Oh hell yes. I got an amazing deal. I paid like 40 quid or something for it all in, shipped from the States. It took like a month or so, it took forever to get here, and I thought there's videos on my channel where I was getting stressed because it weren't turning up and I thought I'd lost it and I was gutted, and then eventually it turned up and it was in great shape and I got an amazing deal. And it's moments like that that really make collecting amazing and such a great experience. And I really enjoy the collecting part. That part will never go away. It's always in my brain, always got the urge to collect. And being a part of the community helps as well. It has its positives and negatives being in the community. Being in the community is a great thing because you meet amazing people, make great friendships, which I have done, that have lasted for years now. And whether I've met you in person or I've just spoken to you online, there are people who know who they are absolutely awesome, and I've been really good friends with over these years. So those are the positives, and the negatives are always obvious. I mean, with retro game collecting, there are going to be negatives. So there are. You can get yourself into a hole by buying too much stuff, buying stuff you shouldn't be buying because you're just buying it because you're interested in it, when realistically you should just buy the consoles that you actually enjoy and know that you enjoy and played as a kid and have nostalgia for and all of this, because otherwise it just gets out of control. The community itself is extremely positive, always has been. People are really great and really friendly. There are the occasional idiot, but that's life, that's humanity, that's how people are, unfortunately. Some people just feel that they have a right to tell you that you're wrong, basically, and continually tell you're wrong, even when, I get the point, But anyway, yeah, I mean, the collecting thing for me was great. I love it. The actual collecting of games is a great thing to do. When you've got the money and you can do it on a regular basis, it's awesome. The only time it fell down for me was when I ran out of money, and then it just all went out of control, but we ain't gonna go there. So yeah, I mean, now, as I say, I'm doing emulation for Super Nintendo. I've got the Xbox there. It's the only retro console I actually own now. So I don't go collecting for that either. That is literally just a system that if I'm out in the wild, I happen to see a game in CEX or charity shop, and I think, oh, that's all right, it's 50p, a quid, whatever. I'll just pick it up and play it. I'm not actively going out making lists and trying to build up an Xbox collection again. I've done that before and it was fantastic. And I'm just going to buy the odd game now and again to enjoy. So in terms of emulation, I do emulate my Super Nintendo games now. It's the only way I can do it. I would say, I think I found with emulation, it's great in terms of ease of use. You can just get straight in there, play any game you want. You don't need to worry about being able to get hold of the game. It's just there. Every ROM's online now, so you can literally just go through, pick all your favourite games, dump them on the SD card, shove them in the Wii. Away you go, you're playing them, and they look, sound, play, control, everything the same as the original. There's no difference, it's just the ROM's been dumped, so I haven't found any issues playing any of these games whatsoever. The only problem I have with emulation, well, a couple of problems I have with emulation. One is the fact that it's just too much choice, which is a weird one because when I collected, I had, as I say, about 124, 126 SNES games. So you'd think that was too much choice, and there were times where I would look at my collection and go, I just don't know what to play. But I just find it feels different with emulation. Emulation to me it's the same as like with the Xbox One with their Game Pass. It's too much choice. It's just too much instant choice, and I find that I was not so much now. I've calmed myself down. I do concentrate on playing one game at a time. But initially with emulation, I was finding that I was playing the game for 5 minutes,
jumping straight back into the menu, playing another game, jump back into the menu, play another game. You know, when you've got physical media, okay, you might have a moment where you walk in your game room and you go, oh shit, I don't know what I want to play today. But eventually you'll choose a game. And the thing is, with a cartridge, you're going to buy that, pick that game off the shelf, take the cartridge out, put it in the machine, play the game, and you're less inclined, at least I'm less inclined, I have been, to get off my arse, walk over there, turn it all off, take the cartridge out, put the cartridge away in the box, put the box back in the box protector, put it on the shelf, find another game, unwrap that game, put it in the console. So there's a whole rigmarole, which only takes a matter of minutes, but it's mentally, you know, psychologically, I feel like I'm just going to sit here and play my game and enjoy it. Whereas with emulators, it's like instant. It's just straight out in the menu, straight into the next game, back out into the menu, into the next game, into the next game, and it's constant. So I didn't really like that about emulation. I have recently, as I say, focused more, and I've been playing a lot of Gradius 3 and a lot of Super Aleste. So those are my main two shooters I've been playing recently, and I have literally just sat down and played them for like a couple of hours, you know, whichever game I'm playing that day. So that has gotten better. The other problem with the emulator I don't like with the Wii is I've got the Pro controller plugged into the Wiimote, and unfortunately for some reason, every now and again, I don't know what it is, but the game just speeds up out of control, and you have to unplug the Pro controller and plug it back into the Wiimote. I've looked online, people have said the same thing, but no one's found a solution yet. I don't know what the issue is, it's weird. The only solution I've found, which does seem to work, which I've tried, which is why the game's running all right in the background at the moment, is just using the Wiimote to boot the game. So you boot from the Wii menu into the SNES menu of the emulator, pick your game. Once the game boots up, then plug the Pro controller in. It doesn't seem to have an issue as much then. I have had the odd time where it has had an issue and sped up, but for the most part, I'd say 95% of the time it seems to work smoothly. It's a weird one. Now, of course, I could buy a GameCube controller, plug it directly into my Wii because I've got an early Wii. Problem is, they're 20 quid a pop on eBay. I ain't paying 20 quid for a controller. There's no point, not especially when I can just go and mod my Xbox and it'd be cheaper. You know, I mod the Xbox, I've got a controller plugged in straight away and I can just put all the emulators on there. So there is that option, I think. But I think emulating is good. I've enjoyed it. It fills the gap for the time being. You know, I have the option to play my SNES games whenever I want to, which is always really what it's all about, playing the games, isn't it? You know, but I feel, for me personally, I still feel like there's something missing. And if you're a collector, I'm sure you'll know what this feels like. There's a certain feeling. There's nothing that beats buying the physical media and the console and having that nostalgic feeling when you look at that console. It takes you back to your childhood or my teenage years. You know, owning the games, seeing them on the shelf all lined up, looking nice. And some people don't understand that. They don't understand why it makes any difference if you've got physical media or digital media. It's the same with modern gaming in that respect. But for me personally, I always will prefer physical games if I can afford to have them. You know, it's just a better experience for me. I love, as I said earlier, about the experience of taking the game off the shelf, taking out the box protector, unboxing the game itself, taking the cartridge out, putting it all back on the shelf, putting the cartridge in the machine, hitting that power button, hearing that click noise of the SNES when you turn it on, seeing that red light come on, the screen lights up, you sit back with that nice SNES controller in your hand, all wired up properly, and you're playing it the way it should be played. There's no better feeling than that. You know, emulators are great, they do the job, but for me personally, they don't beat collecting and owning a physical game and system and playing it the right way. So at the moment, it's great though. It does the job. You know, it just is what it is. It's the only option I have right now. So I'd say the only retro system I actually own is an Xbox, which isn't that retro, is it? It's only a couple of generations away. But what about you guys? What are your thoughts? Have you collected, stopped collecting and gone to emulators? Do you collect and emulate certain systems in terms of like you only want to collect the systems that you love, but all the other systems you're just happy to emulate them and play them and enjoy them? Or have you never collected and you're just interested in playing old games and experiencing what they were all about, and you just emulate because you don't want to spend all that money? Because it is an expensive hobby indeed. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Tell me what you've been doing. Thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video.